Woohoo! Welcome to Spirit Sessions of You with the Light. We're glad you're here with us because it wouldn't be fun without you. So come on in, be a part of our family, share it out, subscribe to the YouTube, share that out. Let's have a lot of fun together today because I am surrounded by the most magical, loving, compassionate ladies. Got Rhonda Elliott and Bex Marie, and today we have Anahata Hallowell. And so, Rhonda, tell us why you brought her in today.
Rhonda, you're muted. There you go.
Oh, hello. Sorry, I muted myself because my microphone's doing a weird thing this morning. Good morning, everyone. Please share this out. Share it out to your friends. Share it out and like and subscribe our YouTube. I have Holly's email newsletter coming to me all the time, and I love the idea of programming water. I've been doing it with sound for a long time, but she does it with something a little different and a little more involved, and it really, really resonates with me like water. And I really want her to tell you her story and how she got there because I love the fact that she's a water bender and a frequency channeler. That's what I call you because you've channeled all these frequencies in, and I kind of wonder, how did you do that? That's really kind of quite cool. How did you figure this is what you needed to do? I'm going to put you up here, Peg.
Oh gosh. Well, first of all, thanks so much for having me on the show. I've been watching you guys as well, and I love how things shift and move, and then suddenly you reach out and voila, here we are together. And I think the moment you surrender is the moment you really open up to your divine vision because you get out of your own way. And so it took me having like a midlife crisis in my early 30s to realize I didn't have the answers and that I was probably pushing against a lot of things in my life. And so I lost a job, an investor that was partnering with me on an invention I had took the invention, and I had this toddler, and I was not getting any interviews because I didn't have a master's degree, and there was just this big churning of, okay, what now? And so I'm a Christian, a non-denominational Christian. And so I thought, you know what, I don't have the answers clearly, and I'm just going to surrender and open up and totally have no bias on what I want to do. I just knew I needed to be of service. And so I just basically silenced my ego, not through suppression, but just through total surrender to the fact that control wasn't working and I wasn't in a good space. And so the more I surrendered, the more I opened up to my path. And I'm a Pisces ×3, so I'm very, very watery and very intuitive. And I could feel, my whole life I've seen visions, and then they occur even to the point where people would blame me for those occurrences, sort of like We Don't Talk About Bruno. I love that movie because of that. It's like, oh my gosh, no, you're just feeling into the essence of what's there, and those timelines collapse based on people's energies, but we always have a choice in whatever it is we end up manifesting. And so I could feel this big, powerful piece of information about my path at the edge of my field that it was just coming in, but it took like 3 or 4 weeks. And one night I just got I was sort of angry. I was like, Jesus, I go, what do you want me to know? And I said it out loud for the first time. What do you want me to know? And I turned off the light, and I was, grumpy, and I got in bed, and the second my head hit the pillow, it was like this download, like someone just put a USB in me, and I had all this information, and I was like, holy cow. And so, from there, I just started writing down what I received. And then my scientific minded part of my personality, I'm very balanced between spiritual and scientific. I wanted to know on a conscious level, but how? And so I kept asking, aligning, allowing, and activating, and the answers kept coming and verifying what I now call the Anahata Codes. And so I've been channeling the law of attraction of energy medicine for 8 years. And boy, has it been an ever unfolding sort of like lotus. Just, oh my gosh, it's so incredible the more you dive into it. And I'm just as excited as my students are to discover more and more about it. And most recently, about a year and a half ago, I was in my kitchen and just making dinner, doing my thing. My daughter's sitting over there doing her homework. And I turned from the sink to the island, and I had this vivid memory of when I was a waterbender 17,000 years ago in Lemuria. And I was like this Muin. And so, you know, if you have like a photo album of a vacation that you've been on and you open it and suddenly you remember like the whole week worth of stuff just through that one photo. Well, that's what happened. This memory was unlocked, and suddenly I could see some things that I was doing, and I actually remember how we were doing it. And so I wrote a book. It's called Light Memory, An Alchemist's Guide to Waterbending. And so in it, now I have evolved the Anahata Codes and started using them to be scanned into crystals. And then you drop the crystal. Here is the waterbending rock. It's so sweet. It's so tiny. You may not be able to see it. I'll try and show you. It's sitting on a crystal now so you can see it. Very, very small. And so in the vision, in the memory, I was having a pomegranate seed. And I put the pomegranate seed under my tongue. And I knew I was scanning the bio water. So this is the water of your body. And we are 99% water molecularly. And so my water of my body was communicating to the seed based on what I needed for a vibrant, healthy body. And so I took the seed out and I put it in water, and I could see the water molecules forming sacred geometry. Now, of course, I later was like, but how? And the more I researched, the more I saw, oh gosh, yes, it does form the Merkaba, the star tetrahedron, when it turns from water to H3O2, which is structured water. And so all of these things were verifying the fact of what I saw. And it was sort of like they were holding hands. The water molecules rearranged themselves into this formation that was a perfect grid. And we know, as light workers, healers, way showers, whenever you have something that is flowing with energy and information, that is when you connect with divine. And when any time there is dis-ease, it's simply a disconnection. That is why fear disconnects you, because you're contracted, you're in fight, flight, frozen, you are not expanding, you're not connected. And so unity is the key. And so when you can bless your water and have it hold hands, it forms bonds, and it's like a fractal, and your water can become your wand. And that is the basis of the technology I'm helping people remember. Gosh, we would walk on water, we would, and it was very obvious how we did it. So we can talk about that later, but things like that, and things like basically photosynthesizing energy and nutrients from plants and flowers. So you wouldn't actually have to eat a lot. We very rarely ate solid food. We more or less transferred energy, just like, you know, plants do with the sunlight, into photosynthesis. And it was just extraordinary. It was a beautiful life. And I just want to bring that back to us, because there's a lot of things we don't understand about water, because it's so simple, and yet so many anomalies, right? So many strange things that shouldn't be. And so water is weird, and I love it. And I'm just here to help people remember how to use it as alchemy. And that's basically the long-winded answer.
Rhonda, you're muted still.
Water is weird. It is chemically different. It's one of the few things that expands when it freezes, right? It's like, that's different in the whole of all chemistry. That's one of the basic things we learned in kids' chemistry. Anyways, was it expands. And I don't know if you've ever done experiments using little organite things and freezing the water and seeing the swirls, the energy, just proving that there's energy that can be held in it. We've all seen Dr. Emoto's experiments where he's, cursed water and played great music to water, and how the crystals form. So you're using that technology of water to help our own things, bringing in these codes to change the actual structure of the molecules. Is that kind of what you're doing from what I understand?
Yeah, so sort of. And I feel like all of the science and research to date is more of a affirmation that water is weird. And now, ... what do we do with that information? And that's what I'm teaching people to do, is to use, for example, to sanctify the water first. And this doesn't matter how chemically pure your water is. It's definitely not structured. Even if you get to something that's structuring your water, it's not forming what I'm talking about. What I teach people to do is blast it with the photons of your heart. And there's a beautiful study done in Hassel, Germany, where they measured the light photons coming from a human's heart. And it's 20 per second, 20 photons per second. Now, if you simply place your intention on your heart space with gratitude and mindfulness, it goes to 200,000 photons per second. That's a tremendous amount of energy. And so I teach people how to create what I call mother well, which is a vessel of water that you put in sort of an altar space. So you make sure, and you can take this water from anywhere, make sure it's pure, obviously, to drink, but put it in a glass container, and the bigger the better. And you're going to place it in an area that is adorned and has space around it. And you can write a love note on the side. Again, that's Masaru Emoto's work with sanctifying and structuring the water using love and gratitude. And then from there, you blast it with your heart photons. And this basically structures the water. And now that is the template. And so now upon that, you pull from the mother well little teeny vials of water. And these are only a matter of an ounce or two each. And you can program anything you want. And my book, Light Memory, I teach you 3 techniques to do so. One is, again, using water-bending rocks and placing that under your tongue and scanning your bio needs, just as I did when I was a waterbender. And this communicates your dosha, your earth, air, fire, water, ether. This is Ayurvedic principle, into the crystal. And the crystal holds it. And then you put the crystal in the water. And what happens next is extraordinary. You basically, because I've attuned the crystal to do this job, you pull from Akasha, which is the 8th dimension, anything you require because you're already connected to it. And so it's sort of like creating your own vitamin elixir with essence. And then you drink what the next day you drink it. After, you could wait 6 hours, but I just do mine overnight, and then you repeat. And day by day by day, you get what you need. That's just one way. The second way that I absolutely adore is putting it under your tongue and visioning the wish fulfilled. So this is how I magnetized my soulmate. I did a water bending ceremony last February, and I put the crystal under my tongue, and I scanned in the memory of my future. And so what happens when you vision into the future as if it's already done, your ego mind doesn't sabotage you anymore. There's no limiting beliefs surrounding, can I get there, or am I good enough? Will this be so? All the ifs that block us. It's totally aligning with the essence, and it's a done deal. I always say, be it to see it. It's an old shaman hack. And so if you can vision as the wish fulfilled, then you're a match. And so I was having this beautiful memory of this amazing man that I hadn't met yet. And I was scanning it in, and I did this love elixir on Valentine's Day. I drank it the next day when it was ready, and I met him within 24 hours. No joke. And so it's been a little over a year now, and we are just, soulmates. And it's amazing. And you can do this for any concern or desire, and a tremendous new advancement in the law of attraction. Whereas in the past, you have to actually think it, right? But thinking does not actually override your programming. You have to get beyond that, because we are 99 or 90% default patterns. So you can think all you want, unless you address and rewrite the past patterns, you're just going to be stuck in the same cycles of vibration. So that's the second way. And then the third way is scanning in codes, literally from one of my other books. I have 4, which is the Anahata Codes, the Law of Attraction of Energy Medicine. This is the book of codes. And I did come up with one for today if we want to talk about it. But
Okay,
there's literally
can I just ask you a question here? Sorry, I was just,
sure.
How did you come up with the codes? Just explain your process for that. Were those all channeled in from source?
Yes. So I don't teach people how to channel codes because the connection was built with my technology. But essentially that day when I had enough and I was like, what do you want me to know? When my head hit the pillow, what I got with the information was that we're connected to all things without having to have them with us, and that numbers are the key because numbers can describe anything in the universe, and everything's just oscillating energy and information. Case in point, the ones and the zeros is all we got for codes, and we have the internet, right? And I'm using the whole bandwidth of 0 through 9. And so the spaces are also important. But over time, yes, I have channeled thousands of codes. I do a special ceremony based on my goal and my understanding of what this technology is. And then I archive them. And so this book is thousands of codes. And you would be blown away. It's like, I know the other day we were helping Bex with her migraine, and she called upon the Earth Star chakra. And it was so obvious exactly what she needed and what was happening. And there's a code for that, I like to say. And so I did come up with the code for the week, and it's on my podcast. So, but again, you literally have the code and you scan it like a barcode. You just scan it and you plop it in the water and you let the water do its thing for 6 hours, and then you drink it. And what happens is all of you gets on board with all of you, because your body is the expression of your subconscious mind in physicality. And when you can override those programs, you begin to truly step up as the sole author of your life, and you resonate results. You get on board with where you want to be, and you're a match. And then things magnetize you, people, places, things, they come to you, and you're like, wow, you can see, and in gratitude of what is, the bounty. I call it a world of assisting frequencies. It's all here to support us, and you're already connected to it. That's the important thing to remember.
So the assisting frequencies from the scan that you take from your own body will negate what's holding you back? Is that kind of what happens?
Yeah, so there's 3 different ways, and they're all different. One is visioning as the wish fulfilled. One is scanning your bio needs, and that's really about your health and your mental and emotional well-being. And your body speaks in the language we don't really understand, so that just does its thing. But the third is, yes, pulling a code based on your needs and your magnetism. And so it's very strange what happens, and this happens at a rate of maybe 99%. I have only met a few people that said, I don't know why I pulled that code. But otherwise, when you read the definition of what it is you asked for, your mouth usually drops open and you go, oh my gosh, I get it now. And so it's very therapeutic in that it teaches you what you're missing and potentially the root of whatever it is that's causing the dis-ease, the concern you have and the reason why you're asking for a code in the first place. And so you magnetize the remedy through the vibrational bandwidth of the opposite, right? So hot is not opposite of cold. It's on the same bandwidth. Simplest way I could put it. And so this week's code is B, and it's a totem. There's 35 categories and growing. And so if you're feeling chaotic, if there's seems to be a lot of tough luck happening, if you feel disconnected in some way, if you're feeling stagnant and like you're not growing, if you've got physical issues, if you're feeling really non-productive and just, even potentially procrastinating, this is the remedy for that through B Totem, because B Totem is all about balance, blessings, abundance, vibrancy, productivity, connecting you intuitively to your higher self, and of course, miracles. Bees are not supposed to be able to fly aerodynamically. They're just built all wrong. a bunch of, the bee flies anyway. And so miracles are infused in this code as well. So yeah, that was the code of the week. As I said, I have my brand new podcast. We're on episode 3, and it is Bee Totem. And so there's a 12-minute audio on that. If you go to any of the podcast hubs and search for A World of Assisting Frequency. And yeah, we did B for today. And it's a fantastic code. And you can either scan that in with a water bending rock, but if you don't have one, you can also write the code down and tape it to a glass of water facing in with the words love and gratitude. And again, wait and then drink it.
Okay. And what is the code for? Can you tell us, or do you want us to go to your podcast?
Absolutely. No, I can tell you. So it's 928, and then there's a space. 327, and then there's a space. 928, and then there's a space. 669. And again, the spaces are just as important as the number. They're pauses. And so you would say, there's a free guide at anahatacodes.com as well as all the codes. You can go download the entire spreadsheet of codes. The book, because it costs money to actually print, you can get that at Amazon. What was I going to say about that? Yeah, so you can write it down and tape it to water. There is a process that I teach you when you want to activate it. And again, there's no force. You're not conjuring anything. You are actually, through the code, opening a portal to that blueprint, to that essence, what makes Bee Totem Bee Totem. And it's coming straight in like a laser beam versus turning on a light and illuminating an entire room, right? Energy flows where energy goes. And so it becomes very powerful for you to go, oh my gosh, I can see how all these things that Bee Totem Animal has to offer would improve this, this, and this. And then I like to teach people even more to be that, like pun intended, like what can you do to actually become that? How can you look at the bee's essence and say, I'm going to do more of that, and start setting tangible goals and action steps that then overwrite limiting patterns that have been holding you back from where you want to be. And it's an amazing process. You feel good. You start aging in reverse. If you look at photos of me from 8 years ago, you wouldn't even recognize me. So it's just a beautiful, beautiful way to increase your capacity to grow and evolve, and then to provide that, fractalization of contentment, purpose, passion to the world in service, as we all remember that we are alchemists and that we are the sole authors of our life.
Very cool. That's such a cool science, and I call it a science. Yeah, you can. There's all the links for Anahata are in the information here. You can go to Amazon in the U.S. or in Canada and pick up her book of codes. But you also have another book, and sort of like with your water bending rocks, do you have like a mini course or something that you're offering to, or is it like a package that you offer?
So I have. Yeah, if you go to waterbendingrocks.com, there is a free pineal gland activation, and I walk you through that so you can experience it firsthand. And then you can get an autographed book and a set of waterbending rocks at that site, waterbendingrocks.com. I do have 2 other books. One is Your Mess into Medicine, and it's a journal to actuate your purpose in life. And it's a journal, helps you overcome some things and really grow into the gifts that you came here to give. And then the other one is a 21-day guided fear detox. So every day there is a lesson and a code and some sutras to really affirm the transformation. And it's an incredible journey, 21 days, basically undoing any fear-based mechanism so that you can expand. We only have this certain bandwidth, and when we're all cluttered up with a bunch of fear-based debris, we can't always expand. And so this is just very, very holistic, helping you let go, transmute, override, and create the vibration for your success.
That's really cool. So you can use this water, like just the water bending the way you've described, and you can use those. You make that mother. I was thinking when you were talking about how holy water is, like, and how you make a mother of water, and I'm thinking about how the Catholic Church and other churches have always used water for blessing, and they've known that science in their own hearts. Like it's not like it's right from out. We've been using it, but sort of it's been like
Oh yeah.
filtered away from us. Like we use holy water to bless things, and that's okay, but it has to come from the church. But now you're bringing it down so we can do the blessing and bring it in. Like I mean, when their kids are baptized, they baptize with water, whether you put them in the whole way or just sprinkle it on their head. That's a way of sanctifying them or bringing
Yeah,
them in.
exactly.
So there's always been that holy
Yeah.
relationship with water.
I agree. Yeah, and I mean, when Jesus walked on water and turned water into wine, something other than it was, etc., water science has been around forever. In fact, my ancestry, so my guides and my higher self thought it would be hilarious that I incarnated into a family. My last name is Hallowell of the Holy Well. No joke. My dad is in
That's your real
genealogy,
name.
and I asked him one day, "What is Hallowell?" My real name. I did not. This is my given name. And he said, "Oh, well, it's of the Holy Well, the caretakers of the well springs, the holy water." I was like, oh my God. It's just so hilarious.
That's perfect.
Oh,
that is,
yeah.
I was wondering if it was like, I knew it was holy water, and I thought, well, did she make, like, is that her name or is that her spirit name? I'm glad you,
My real
like,
name.
that's the name the guides
Yeah.
decided to make you come in. Yeah, well, that isn't synchronicity wonderful?
Yeah, really funny.
That's a coincidence, right?
I know.
Yeah.
So fun.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, I know. So funny.
It's not an easy name to say. Your parents really, gave you an alliteration that's pretty hard for most normal mortals to say.
Well, it's funny. I was born in Japan, on the island in Okinawa. My dad was in the Air Force, and so I was an Air Force brat, but I was born on the island there. And, their language is such that it's very hard for them to pronounce L's. So when I was little, I wasn't Holly Hallowell, I was Hari Hararo. And it was a nightmare. And my parents, people would look at them and go, "Did you really name her that on purpose?" It was just really funny. Oh, but anyway.
Oh, it's funny you were born on an island too, which really
surrounded by water.
Not too far from where,
Yeah.
maybe Moo was. Who knows? We don't know really well, but yeah.
Right,
really
exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of interclaimant happening, synchronicity. And I really believe everyone has that encoded into their chart. The moment you first breathe, you take in that template based on the alignment of the stars. It's called astrology. But from there, you're seeded with these divine gifts. And the other thing the water does is help you to remember. Water is light memory. That's actually the word. If you examine, the roots of it, it's light memory. And that's exactly what we're doing with water. It's a memory. It's a return to the memory of wholeness through light codes that help you recall your divinity and how to express your gifts in this lifetime. And that's why the pineal gland activation on waterbendingrocks.com is so fascinating to go through. And you silence any disbelief that is not in coherence with where you want to be. And there's no suppression. You're honoring where you were as optimization, and you're boldly moving forward through choice, the codes, and water into new terrain, your best future.
That's awesome. And I often think of how drawn a lot of people are to moonlight on water and sunlight on water, and they never seem to be able to ever paint it into reality. You can't seem to even capture it with a photo the same as when you're right there. And I don't know if it's that kissing of the sun's codes to the water that makes it so special. And, the sparkling, you could sit there for hours watching the reflections and the dance of that. And that's interesting how that's how it's all put into. Oh, that's neat. It's really neat.
Yeah.
So
And in fact, it's really scientifically, it opens up your heart chakra. When you stare at a body of water, it opens up your heart chakra, which is the reason why I called it the Anahata Codes, because Anahata is the heart chakra. And so, and just to overlay one more quick thing is the hive of the bee is actually, the honeycomb is representative of the heart chakra as well. So it all weaves in together. And it's unifying, you know. And sorry to cut you off, Rhonda. Go ahead with what you were.
No, that's what I was going to say about the honeybees. Like they're such a community together that they have to work together, and they're just like working together in their own specialized field for the good of everyone, like for the good of everyone in their community. And and then they produce such sweet stuff, right? When they do, the reward is honey, right? Which nourishes the whole hive. And
it nourishes the whole world. I mean, look at how they are, without them, we wouldn't exist. Nothing would exist. There wouldn't be any growth. There wouldn't be, they're such a pivotal part of the collective that, it's honoring them, something so small, that can be such a big part.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
And their sonics draws in
when
angels.
You start installing sorry. Go ahead, Teresa.
No, that's all. No, the sonics that is created from the sacred geometry of their building of their hives draws in a lot of angels to them in that area, and then they take those sonics and spread them to wherever they go.
I know. Gosh, it's so amazing. I know. And guys, also, when you start installing codes or activating codes, I call it, what happens is resonance remembrance. You recall your innate connectivity to this thing, that whatever it is that it's representing. And you will start vibrating in that way. This morning, I let my dog out to go to the bathroom, and it was very early. It was twilight, just dawn, not twilight. It was just, the sun was just coming up. And I looked over, I was like, come on, Merlin, my cute little dog, one of my dogs, and I'm yawning. And I look over at my, one of my plants has flowers on it. And there was one bee. And I look over at it and I said with my mind, oh, you're up early. And I kid you not, that bee came straight to me and hovered right in front of my third eye. And I'm trying to focus on him going, wow. And then he spins around my head a few times and then goes off. And I was like, holy cow, I just literally had a communication with this bee. Oh, it was just fantastic.
Oh, that's so cool. And how are you, you're offering courses now for people to become assistant frequency?
So I call it the Master Alchemist course series, and it's 3 of my best masterclass series in one package. It's the Anahata Codes Masterclass series, the Waterbending Masterclass series, and the Grid for Gaia, where we take the work that we do over the course of the Anahata Codes and waterbending, and we actually start to grid the planet. It's sort of like feng shui 2.0. I mean, you work with ley lines and you start gridding in, and as above, so below, as within, so without. You literally transform the globe in huge ways. And so those 3 courses comprise, if you complete the series, you become a master alchemist. You get a certificate of completion. And I'm starting that at the end of April.
Oh, cool. Do you have some spaces left and everything like that?
Oh, there's limitless space. Everyone's welcome. So we've got, And if you are interested in that, I would just suggest joining my Assisting Frequency Facebook group, because in there I do a lot of free ceremonies. We're doing one on Friday. And you can, there understand what it is and if you're interested or not, and then you can join from there. So Assisting Frequencies in the Facebook group. And also, before we end, I don't know how much time we have, I recommend everyone take a glass of water and taste the water. You can do this later. You can just taste it pre-blessed, right? Get a benchmark for what it tastes like. And then you can literally hold it and look into the molecules and imagine the sacred geometry happening as you say, thank you. Thank you. And you're filling up the molecules with your gratitude from your heart space. and it's structuring the water, and it's getting its memory back. It's holding hands. It's becoming that liquid crystalline supercomputer that it already is, that it's forgotten to be. And now the template's ready, and a few, maybe 30 seconds, and you can taste the water again. Now, I did this process live on my YouTube channel a while ago, and I had a pH tester, and I had it dipped in, and it was miraculous, the amount of percentages it alkalinized the water. So it was extraordinary. And scientifically, you're not supposed to be able to do that with your mind and your heart. But then, yeah, when you taste the water again, it's sort of wetter, more airy. It's a strange viscosity compared to before.
Yeah, you're right.
And I just love that simple technique for someone to go, whoa, this actually, something about this. And if you transfer your water to well water, if you create a gallon jug in a sacred space with your love note and your heart photons, and you only drink that for a week, you're going to find more joy, peace, less triggers. Everything's going to feel like you just centered in, versus being on the rugged outer edge of all of this distraction and apparent chaos that's happening in the world. And you just feel more capable, more joyous, optimistic, and you just feel like you're expanding sustainably into new places. So very nice.
There was one more question I had with this, and I think you started to answer it. So you can take, now can you bless this glass of water. Can you go out to bodies of water? Say I'm at the headwaters of my pond is the headwaters of a system. Can you go and transform that water so it clears up down below?
Yeah.
And it transfers through the land?
Yeah, you're exactly. And you're actually going straight to the grid for Gaia, which is the 3rd masterclass series. I've been gridding the waters of my area for 8 years now. And there's beautiful testimonials that come through. People have cleared murky water using my methods and the codes. People have just recently, this man who purchased my book and rocks, he's like, what's happened? He goes, I poured a little bit of the blessed water in my fountain back in the backyard, and it was murky. And now look at it, it's crystal clear. And he's like, is this normal? I'm like, yes. And he said, now all of the wildlife comes, and he took a photo of this hummingbird coming to drink of the water. And it was just like, oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. And so the answer is absolutely yes. And in fact, just one drop of water has the gridding potential to encode and to translate the energy and information from your mother well in a body of water as large as the Atlantic Ocean. Now, I didn't make that up. It's because homeopathy can be diluted to be detected equal to one drop in the size of the Atlantic Ocean. And so likewise, if you take that methodology, one drop of coded water can code in that large of an area. And absolutely this works. It's being done in the opposite way to enslave us, if you will. And so this is why I say we are laying lines of love now and sort of evolving, offering that remembrance up on the grid to geographies all around the globe. So yeah, it's pretty powerful, potent stuff.
That's really wild. I can think of lots of things I'd like to encode into the water up here. So yeah, that would be great. That's amazing.
Yeah,
amazing. Bex, have you got some questions?
I do have some questions. Thank you for sharing. This is a fascinating topic. Like, I'm sure that we could go on about this stuff for a very long time. There's so much that we could talk about, and it's just incredible. Thank you for bringing this to our awareness, being able to help us to really understand the power of water and how we can work with it. So the first question I have is, if you had to choose a song to be the theme song of your life, what would that be?
Well, there's a song that just came into my awareness by Ayla Schaefer, Ayla, called Rose. But it's very, I feel like it's the anthem of our day and time as women, as softening, as coming back into divine feminine power and hearing the calling of what we're here for and the roots of our ancestry. And it's just this beautiful anthem of celebration, I would say. But if you wanted a zoomed out, like something you would play if you were coming out to be in some sort of sports tournament, you only have like 30 seconds. The song that came out the other day, and I haven't thought of this song or heard of it in, I don't even know how long, if ever. I mean, it's been probably 20 years. But that song called Anything You Want by Roy Orbison was blasting through my brain and my body. And I was like, and I was thinking of it as a love note from my higher self and God. It was like, anything you want, you got it. It's here. It's all here. And so I would say Anything You Want by Roy Orbison.
I love that song. That's a great song. Okay, second question. What is your favorite crystal that you're working with right now?
That might be pretty hard.
I love clear quartz crystals, but one that keeps popping up over and over again is blue lace agate. And that it's very watery, soothing. It reminds you of the sky or the blue waters. I love blue lace agate. It's very unifying, just like water. It's a hopeful vibration. It helps harmonize things in your life, gives you optimism, positivity, and some protection, and just this vibration of hope and peace. And it's a very expansive crystal. So I do love blue lace agate. And there's a category in my book of codes called crystals. And so there's a code for blue lace agate, which I'll just give you real quick. Let me look that up while you ask another question.
Sure. The last question is, have you ever experienced extra dimensional intelligence, meaning visitations, seen UFOs, things like that?
Oh, okay. So the code I found at Blue Lace Agate is 8692 space 27 space 46 space 9. So there you go. You can encode B totem and Blue Lace Agate. And I wouldn't do more than 2 or so codes per elixir and see how that transforms and shows up. And be sure to look up the definition, right, of both of these things. Like, what is this? Because you unlock the totality. Anything you want, you got it. And so let's see, with the UFOs, I actually did see one. I lived in Westminster, Colorado. I had a house there, and there was this beautiful ridge with a tree, and it's a big dog park, and it goes right up to the Flatirons, and it was just miles and miles of open space. And my daughter was at her nanny's house, and I went to pick her up, and her house is right there at the front of, and so I could see the sky above it. And I'm standing there, and she's looking at me, and I'm looking, and I'm like, what is that? And I'm looking again, and I see this thing, but it's like, it looked like an airplane, but it was going nuts. And then I said, holy cow. And she goes, what? I said, look at that. And she turns around, and we were both like, are we seeing this? And suddenly, after a few weird moves, it just, I mean, there's no aviation that could do that. But, to me, I know that they're all around us, and to think that we are the only life in these billions of Earth-like stars around, Earth-like planets, it's it's statistically impossible that we're alone. And so what I believe personally, and you can try this on, is that they're here, and we just can't see them. It's sort of like the natives when the boats came, and they didn't know what boats were, and they couldn't actually comprehend it to where they didn't even see the boats. So we can't actually see these vessels, cloaking or not. It's half consciousness, half their technology, but we're not on that vibrational bandwidth yet. But make no mistake, they are there, and they're waiting for our evolutionary leap. One day, about a year ago, I went outside shortly after I remembered the water bending technique with the pomegranates, and I was looking up at the stars, and I have a very strong connection to Pleiades. I believe I'm a Pleiadian starseed. And so I was sitting there looking up at the seven sisters, and I was saying, thank you so much. And with my heart space, And I just said, thank you. And right when I said it, there was a shooting star. And I was like, oh my gosh, they're connecting, they are here. They're here. We're just waiting a little bit till we can get on that bandwidth and really seek their support without it being help us, right? It's this collaboration, and we are ready. And that point is coming soon, I believe.
Yeah, I just wondered if there was a code for that. Sorry.
That would be cool. Codes for connecting to the Galactic Federation. Yeah.
You should ask. See, I knew there was a code for it.
I have an entire category called astrology. And, it's just funny. Everything, it's all in here. So, yeah, absolutely. There's a code for that.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Thank you so much. This has been very cool. I'm excited to try these out and definitely experience the essence of them. That's beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate you so much.
I don't know if I put your code for water bending rocks in the information. If I missed it out, would you mind just dropping it in the comments, Anahata? And if anybody has any other questions from Anahata, you can drop them in the comments or go to her Facebook group, and maybe you could drop the link for your Facebook group in there too, so people could, not in these comments,
sure.
You'll have to do it in the comments after the show, in the live Facebook ones, because they won't be able to see these.
Absolutely.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Yeah.
And thank you, Anahata. This has been awesome. So much.
I just have to share the winner, and then we're
Oh,
out
you're
of
so
here.
welcome.
All right, so the winner of last week's Share It Out, who won the Soul Spa meditation, is Robin Quarles. Congratulations. And you guys, make sure you share this out so you can get a chance to win. The Soul Spa meditation is an Egyptian meditation where you get to experience channeled messages, Reiki healing, amazing guided meditation from Teresa. She takes us on quite a journey, and it's powerful. So you don't want to miss your chance to win that. It's very transformative. So thank you all so much for hanging out with us this week, and we love you all so much, and hope you have a blessed week.
Cheers. I'm going to